What up, Shredder? It's Ed from edshreds.com, and today we're going to talk about the three-step process to get better at snowboarding, even if you won't ride again for months or you don't live close to a mountain. We're going to show you the step-by-step process you can follow to improve your riding, no matter what time of year it is, no matter where you live, steps that everyone can take, whether you're a complete beginner or you're already competing in the X Games. The process we follow will help you. Now, just so I know that you can hear me, go ahead and put your name and where you're from in the comments right now, just so you make sure that you can hear the audio, you can see the video, all of that stuff. Yeah, so I see some people from, looks like we got New York, Michigan. Yeah, we got some good East Coast, Maryland, Colorado. That's where I'm at right now. I'm in Denver. Usually ride Colorado. We got some Utah, California, nice Oregon. Yeah, Mount Hood, great. Washington. Yeah, so all over the place. So we got shredders all over the United States, and as long as you can hear me, you can see me right now, we're about to get it going. Again, if you're just joining us, my name is Ed from edshreds.com. We're going to talk about the three-step process to get better at snowboarding, even if you won't ride again for months or don't live close to a mountain. And if you do live close to a mountain and you're going snowboarding tomorrow, this will help you too. So we're going to talk about how Jess went from bunny hill, just starting to ride, to backflips in one season. You can see her hand planting right there. We're going to talk about how this guy used this process to go from somebody who wouldn't even set foot in cold weather to just being completely addicted to the rush of snowboarding in his mid-30s, dreaming of backside 180s. So he's a beginner, so if you're a beginner, that's great, but we're also going to cover advanced. We're going to talk about how Natasha went from a complete beginner, having never stepped on a snowboard before, to carving heel side, toe side, and doing ollies her first week, and how this guy went from a broken back being so bad that he couldn't even hit a jump to a national collegiate champion in slopestyle. And they all learned it with the process that we're going to talk about in this webinar right now. And they all put away their phones, closed Instagram, and shut down their other tabs when they were following this process. So if you can focus with me now for a couple of minutes, we're going to show you the process, and this works even if you live on the East Coast. You don't get a ton of days in. I know a lot of people don't. Even if you've never snowboarded before, you're starting from scratch. Even if you're decent and you just want to impress your friends. Even if you're already a competitive snowboarder and you just want to win more. I've won tons of competitions. And even if you're in your 30s, 40s, and 50s and you're just getting back into snowboarding and you want to stay healthy and progress. But I have to tell you something. If you haven't reached the level of riding that you want yet, or you wonder if the true rippers are just different than you, they're just born different than you. You see them under the lift and you think, I don't know how I could ever do that. It's not your fault that you believe this, okay? But I want you to imagine, how would your life be different if you were one of those riders who can rip everything on the mountain? That you watch from the lift, you admire them, you want to be like them. How would your life be different if you could actualize that? Wouldn't that be awesome? And I'm also going to tell you the one thing that if I could go back in a time machine and tell my previous self about how to get better at snowboarding, it's this one thing that would change everything so much sooner for me. Plus, we're going to cover the process to break down your dream trick, whether that's a toe side carve or a front side 900, into easy to perform parts so that you can learn harder tricks faster without getting hurt. Okay, because every trick, if you know how to do it, can be broken down into simple parts, and that's going to make sure you're landing those tricks with fewer tries, that you're not getting hurt, that you're not wrecking, because you are one dream trick away from that feeling. And I think if we're all here, we know how addictive snowboarding really can be, and part of it is that feeling you get when you stomp a new trick. There's almost nothing better in this world. But please ask questions as we go through this, okay? This is for you. I want you to get the most out of it, so feel free to put all of your questions in the comment box there. Now, I can't guarantee that I'm going to get to it as we're going through this presentation because I got to focus on what I'm doing so that for the benefit of everyone, but I will try to get to your questions at the end, okay? So please put your questions in that comment box as we go. Now, if you stay until the end, all you got to do is watch till the end. I'm going to give you 4 free snowboard trainings, and I'm going to show you how to push like a pro, the one switch that's going to make the difference between a total noob and the way the pros push. That's going to make it a lot easier to get across flats and do everything else on your snowboard. How to method grab, one of the most stylish tricks on a snowboard. How to land your first frontside 360 or fix your frontside 360s if you're not landing on your feet the way you want. And how to backflip even in your first year of snowboarding. I'm going to give you those 4 free trainings if you stay until the end. But I have to tell you, you've been lied to. Have you ever heard this before or said this to yourself? You're not the type of rider who people admire from the lift, or somebody's told you that snowboard instructors at the mountain will help you get better. Have you ever heard that everything is available to learn on YouTube, yet you're still not as good at snowboarding as you want? Or if you just keep going to the mountain, you'll get better. I have to tell you that's not all there is, okay? I'm going to show you the truth about what it takes to become a total ripper, make the whole mountain your terrain park, and even if you're starting from scratch, get better at snowboarding than you could have ever imagined. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ed from edshreds.com, and one of the first times I got so excited about snowboarding, we were hitting this jump. It was in central Pennsylvania when I was growing up. And this girl that I had a huge crush on looked over to my friend and she said, "If you land this method grab, I'll give you a kiss." Now, I could tell you that that's the moment that I fell in love with snowboarding, but it's just not true, because the very first day that I unwrapped that Burton Chopper snowboard, it was 122 centimeters, took it out from underneath the Christmas tree and strapped in for the first time, was when I was actually hooked. My very first run, I was obsessed, and it hasn't stopped since that day. But on this day, my friend landed that method grab and he got the kiss from the girl. And he made fun of my snowboard skills at the time. Now, I just couldn't figure out how to get better. And part of it is because I had this mentality that I'm a soul shredder. It was cool to not try. It was cool to not learn things or ever learn from somebody else and do everything on my own. Yet I was obsessed with snowboarding and I just couldn't hack it, okay? I wanted to be one of those riders who could rip everything, and I wanted to hit jumps and learn tricks and ride park and do all these things. Yet I enrolled to ride in a big air contest at my local mountain, and here I am about to break my back in front of every single person that I know. That huge crowd of people there, my parents are there, my friends are there, my grandparents are there, pretty much everyone in the whole town. This is a small town in central Pennsylvania, and I'm on the way to the knuckle on my back. And I ended up with a bruised lung, a bruised kidney, and 3 broken bones. And this is the moment when I thought, you know what, this whole mentality that I'm a soul shredder and I never get help learning and I never follow a process, it has to change. I know snowboarding is about fun, but that doesn't mean I can't follow some structure to get coaching. I was listening to an interview with Shaun White and he kept talking about his coach, and I thought, if somebody this good at snowboarding can benefit from coaching, even though at the time he was one of the best in the world, then maybe I have something to learn from coaching too. So both of these guys use on snow and off snow. Mark McMorris uses tons of off snow coaching to train. Shaun White has always used on snow Olympic snowboard coaches to get where he's been. So I decided to make some changes to how I was learning snowboarding, how I was learning new tricks. And a couple of years later, everything had changed. I didn't suck so bad at snowboarding. Here I am standing on the podium after winning first place in the Collegiate National Champions. This was CBS, so I even got to be on national television, which was so cool. And Oakley flew me out to Mount Hood, all expenses paid. They paid for my flight, for me to stay there. They gave me all new outerwear and goggles and shot photos. And I've had tons of companies just send me boxes of gear and sponsor my outerwear and my equipment. And I'm going to share with you on this presentation how I discovered how to do all of this, because there's a process that you can follow. Again, whether you're going snowboarding for the first time next week or next year, or you're already riding jumps in park, you want to start to compete, or you just want to have more fun out there and impress your friends. So before we dive into the 3 secrets I'm about to share with you, if you could learn anything right now, your dream trick that you think about, whether that's riding fast down the mountain, riding POW, or a corked backside 720, was always a trick that I wanted to learn when I was in high school. And that's me right there doing one over a jump at Keystone. Again, just one of my dream tricks that I always wanted to learn. And it feels so cool to finally do that. So what's that trick for you? Yeah, I see some people down here. Some people want to drop cliffs. Some people want to learn board slides. Got a Cab 900. That's one of my favorite tricks. Nice. Yeah, frontside 540. This guy just wants to impress his skier friends. That's cool. I get that. Yeah, so all over the board. Whether you want to learn to hit handrails or do you want to learn to lay out a backflip, this is the process that's going to get you there. So secret number 1, how to consistently get better at snowboarding even if you don't ride every day, which none of us do. Even if you live in a resort town, best case scenario, you're getting in 150 days a year. So nobody rides every day. except for pros that travel all around the world. But here is the deal. Here's what I've learned is that snowboarding practice starts at home. It doesn't start on the mountain. If you wait until you're on the mountain strapping in to try and learn something new, it's already too late. We're going to talk about how that is. But imagine if you showed up for finals in school without studying. This is what people are doing when they show up to the mountain. How do you think you'd do if you didn't study? If you showed up to perform in a rock concert without practicing and learning the songs ahead of time, or if you tried to lift as much as a bodybuilder when you go to the gym for one day, how do you think you would perform? You're already at the test when you're on the mountain. You're already here. So if you haven't prepared and you're not getting better, this is the first step. So if you're getting hurt trying a new trick because you don't understand it, or you just find that you're at the same level of riding year after year, or you're too scared to try things, this is the deal. There's no textbook for snowboarding, right? Nor do we want it to feel like school. That's the last thing we want. But you don't have to take the fun out of snowboarding while learning new stuff. So I used to watch snowboard videos on slow-mo on a VCR, but here's the deal. It's best if you can watch the same trick from multiple angles, multiple people, different people doing the trick, and have someone point out the proper technique and the common mistakes and how to fix them. If you know the mistakes that happen with a trick before you ever go to try it, you're not going to have to learn that the hard way by wrecking, okay? This studying must occur in the mind before you even ever attempt a trick. So before you drop in, you should have that trick in your mind. You should believe that you can do it. You know exactly how to do it. You know it can go wrong, and you're going to stomp that in the first couple of tries if you have that. This is a quote from a book about high performance. It says, "Whatever is going on inside your head has everything to do with how well you end up performing. Remember, one must consistently practice mental skills and pre-game routines in order to tap one's full potential." So if you want to get better at snowboarding, whether it's your first week or you've been doing it for 20 years, you need to develop what's called mental muscle memory, which can be done year-round, 24/7, 365, okay? If you understand everything about a trick, what can go wrong, how to correct it, your chances of landing it go up 1,000%, and that confidence in your mind is actually going to translate directly to the hill. Most of the snowboarding improvement starts in your mind. So secret number one is you need to make a habit of studying, whether that's watching snowboard tutorials and tricks or trying these things off the mountain. But let's tie that in. Secret number two, you can learn any trick you want without getting hurt if you learn the building blocks first. So let's go back to that dream trick, right? Why haven't you learned it yet? Well, why do people wreck? I mean, this is one of the barriers that most of us face is fear, hurting ourselves. We don't want to hurt ourselves, then we can't shred at all. So they wreck because they don't understand how the trick works. They don't understand the mechanics. They haven't developed the mental muscle memory like we talked about. But the biggest reason people wreck is they didn't stack tricks. And that means they didn't learn each individual piece of the trick. So let's say you want to learn a frontside 360. You should just go out there and try a frontside 3, right? No, that's wrong. That's how you're going to wreck. Let's break down what a frontside 360 is. It's a frontside 180 plus a switch backside 180. And if you don't know what these terms mean, don't worry, I'm going to show you right now. So first we have a frontside 180 on the left here, and in the middle we have a switch backside 180. And when you combine these two, you get a frontside 360 like you can see on the right. So the frontside 180 is like the takeoff for the front three, and the switch backside 180 is the same motion as the landing. And if you can consistently do both of these two tricks over and over again, it's going to be really easy to stomp that frontside 360. But if you're on this and you've tried the front three and you don't know how to do it, chances are you don't know how to switch back to 180. This is what I see over and over again. Most people skip this middle trick and then they don't know how to land a front three, or they try a front three and they land on their back or they catch their toe edge, and it's because they didn't stack the trick, okay? Now we can break this down into even smaller parts. So what is a frontside 180? It's a frontside, it's an ollie and it's riding switch. So you can see on the left here we have an ollie, and on the right here we have a frontside 180 into switch riding. Now most people when they try a frontside 180, they'll try this before they learn to ride switch. And so what happens? They try the frontside 180 and then they eat shit when they land. So if we practice our riding switch first and we practice ollies and we do that for a couple runs, guess what? We're going to stomp the frontside 180 first try. Then we've got the switch backside 180. That's riding switch plus the ollie and the backside 180. So before you try a frontside 360, you should know how to ollie, how to frontside 180, how to backside 180, how to ride switch, and how to switch backside 180. Most people skip most of those steps. That's how they get hurt. So we can learn any trick we want. We can apply this to any trick without getting hurt, as long as we learn every trick that comes before it and we practice that over and over. So it kind of looks like this. We study the trick at home, on our laptop, on our phone, on our computer. We practice it in our minds off snow, and then we'll try that trick on snow. And remember, we want to know exactly what can go wrong and what that looks like. So we cover this in our tutorials, which I'm going to give you at the end of this for free, those 4 tutorials. But the first step in learning a new trick, learning a dream trick, is to decide what you want to learn. If you don't know a trick exists or how it works, how can you study it, right? So the first step is just getting those tricks in front of you and learning what they are. Once you learn about a trick, we break it down into pieces. We learn each piece. We learn the pitfalls, watch other people do it, rehearse it mentally, rehearse it physically, and then we go out and try it. Is this all making sense? Go ahead and put in the comments right now if this makes sense. If this is kind of making things clear for you as to how pros actually go out there and learn tricks, consistently get better without getting hurt. They're not superhumans, okay? They're humans just like all of us. And if we follow this process, we can get so much better at snowboarding very, very quickly. So secret number 3, how to learn tricks even if you rarely make it to the mountain. Because again, none of us live at a mountain and we don't always make it there. And in the off season, some of us just want to keep getting better at snowboarding, right? So we've prepared the mind. Now we need to prepare the body. And then if we do those 2 things, when we actually get to the mountain, it's as good as done. So again, do as the pros do. If we look at somebody who's amazing, incredible at snowboarding, and we say, I want to ride like that, then we shouldn't expect to get that result unless we're actually doing the same things that they're doing. So in high school, in that big air contest that I showed you where I broke my back, there was, we were all in our teens riding that contest, and there was a guy from our town who was like 35. And at the time, I thought, that I couldn't even imagine being that old. I'm in my 30s now, but this was a while ago. And this dude was a bodybuilder, and he was totally ripped. And he would go out there, and he had just started snowboarding like 2 years earlier, and he was doing backside rodeos and 900s and all these things. And some of the time he would wreck pretty hard, but it did not faze him. And I couldn't wrap my mind around how this guy this is not traditionally when people start doing backside rodeos, right, in their 30s, but this guy could take it. And that's because he took care of his body off the mountain. So what we need to learn new tricks, no matter what our age is, again, if you're 15 and you want to rip, you're going to be so much better than your friends if you take care of your body off the mountain. If you're 42 and you want to start riding park, you can do that if you take care of your body off the mountain. So we need basic physical prowess, we need flexibility and mobility, we need the specific movements, and we need balance, okay? And if we have those 4 things, if we build up those strengths in our body, we can go out there and we can learn to ride park and we can get better at snowboarding, and we can do it all without getting hurt. So we're going to talk about how to build those things up. But what if you have the skill set, the training and the know-how to learn any trick you wanted safely, without injury, and without having to ride 200 days a year, okay? Who wants to take what we just talked about and take things to the next level? Who wants to learn all those things? Who wants to learn how to lay out a backflip like this? So I put together something for you guys, but I have to ask, is it okay if I share? This is for you guys. I already know how to do all this stuff, so let me know in the comments, should I share with you right now how to take things to the next level? Say yes, please. Let's do it. Okay. All right, let's do this thing. So what I have for you is Shred School. Shred School is all about, for beginners, how to quickly progress your snowboarding and become a shredder without spending years of your life in trial and error, even if you can't make it up to the mountain all the time. For intermediate riders, it's how to add tricks to your bag of tricks consistently, progress your riding, learn advanced park, chip, and half-pipe tricks, ride the whole mountain like an extreme athlete, win competitions, get sponsored, and more. And for old shredders, people in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, if you took time off or if you're just getting into it, it's how to get all your skills back, learn new tricks, ride the whole mountain like you own it, and ride park in your 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. So, like I said, if you take care of your body, if you follow the right process, you can do this. The founder of Bally's Total Fitness was heli skiing 80 days a year into his 80s. Snowboarding, heli snowboarding. But this guy knew how to take care of his body. So we can continue to snowboard throughout our entire lives. So here's what I've got for you. The way that we do this is by giving you a proven system to follow step by step right now to learn your dream tricks, to get better at snowboarding and do it all without getting hurt, whether you live near a mountain or you don't. So what are you really getting? You're going to get a step-by-step plan to consistently learn 2 new tricks a week, improve your riding, level up, and become a shredder. So next time you're at the mountain, your friends ask you, when did you get so good? It's kind of like the P90X or Insanity of snowboarding, if you've ever seen that. It's a step-by-step process to take you through a transformation. And it's the same way that Jess went from literally strapping into the bunny hill and learning to snowboard for the very first time to doing backflips in 1 season. And you'll see here in the backflips video. But here's the deal. It doesn't matter how many resources you have. If you don't know how to use them, it will never be enough. And you see this guy standing on a pile of ladders. He doesn't know how to get over that wall. That's what I see snowboarders doing on YouTube. They go on there and they watch random vlog content on YouTube and they wonder why they're entertained but not actually getting any better, right? So YouTube is built for entertainment. It's not built for progress. And this is where most people get stuck, right? Here are the shredders you see from the lift and you admire up here, and they can destroy everything on the mountain. Here's where most of us are now, and this is the gap. And so what happens if we go out there, we watch a couple YouTube videos, we make a little bit of progress, and we feel good about it, and then we realize that we're plateaued and we haven't actually gotten better at snowboarding in days or months or weeks or years. And what happened is we hit an obstacle, we didn't know what to do next, and we fell down into the gap. And that's because we're not following a structured plan to progress through the movements. Okay, everything is built on the fundamentals in snowboarding, and if we have a plan to master those, we can come up here and become an absolute shredder. So here's what you're going to get: 12 months of shred training. We got level 1, which is really starting at the basics: how to strap in, how to get on and off the lift, how to carve for the very first time, how to get quicker edge-to-edge transitions, how to get more comfortable with speed, ride powder, ride the whole mountain, and we'll go through black diamonds, double black diamonds, but starting all the way from the bunny hill. Level 2 is you want to be more comfortable and confident on rails and jumps. You want to get started in the park for the first time. You want to be able to catch air off of anything, land spins and jibs. And level 3 is maybe you want to become the best. Maybe you want to compete, get sponsored, and become a pro rider. It's everything you need to become a shredder. Okay, now who does this work for? Works for people who are addicted to snowboarding, especially when they can't go and they need something for the summer to get them by. People who want to be more comfortable and confident on rails and jumps. People who are coming back to snowboarding after a long time off and excited to get better in their 30s or 40s or 50s than they were as a teen or in their 20s. People who want off-season training plans. They want to learn park progressions without hurting themselves. People who just want to have more fun. I mean, getting better at snowboarding is so much fun. Being able to send it off anything you want is so much fun. And this is for people who want to become sponsored and pro riders. So who does this not work for? It doesn't work for you if you're a hard boot racer. It doesn't work for you if you're a skier, snowbladers, if you're too cool to learn something new like I used to be. And we also don't cover backcountry, avalanche safety, and skins. That's just beyond my expertise. Now, I have to warn you, if you join Shred School, your friends and family may get jealous when you show up the next day on snow and you're absolutely ripping it. They're going to ask you, when did you get so good? Okay, because this is the transformation that's going to happen. So here's what we got. With Shred School, every single Sunday night, you're going to get 2 new in-depth video tutorials. And so you're going to get 100 throughout the whole year, okay? Now, you've probably heard before, they say to ride with somebody who's better than you to progress. But some of us don't have that luxury. We don't have friends who are much better than us. We don't know those people. And so when you join Shred School today, what you're going to get is the same experience, okay? You're going to learn 2 new tricks every week from people who are better than you. It's like surrounding yourself with people who are way ahead of you. Now, the types of riding we cover, again, we've got beginner fundamentals, selecting gear, getting off the lift with other people, learning to turn, going faster, working up to blue squares and black diamonds. We've got the intermediate progression, carving, learning to do small jumps without hurting yourselves, riding black diamonds and double blacks, tree riding and powder. We have intro to park and freestyle, learning to ride the park, hit jumps, boxes, rails, side hits, how to 180, 360, butter, and more. And we've got competition level tricks. So we go through all the tricks, 180, 360, 540, 720, 900s, all types, right? Frontside, backside, cab, switch backside, back flips, front flips, tame dogs, rodeos, how to hit big jumps safely if you can only hit small jumps right now, riding rails in the park, riding handrails outside the park, board slides, blunt slides, tail presses, hand plants. Hand plants are some of my favorite tricks, competing, and more. So we're going to cover all of it in Shred School. And here's the deal. It's a simple, progressive, easy to follow system that's going to build on the steps that you learned before. Sammy says, "Dog, you're clearly better at snowboarding than half these snowboard YouTubers. Not only are you better at snowboarding, your trick tips are way better to watch." I like how you really get into the mindset of each trick. Like for your back flip video, you totally got me hyped about how easy it is once you're committed. Anyways, I hope you keep making these trick tips because they're hella fun to watch and learn from. These videos are better than anything else out there because we get into the mindset of each trick. Why a trick is important, what goes into it, what you need to know ahead of time, what you should be thinking about. It's not just ride up to the jump on this edge and do this, right? We start way before that. Detailed tutorials with visual breakdowns, learning from somebody who's been there, and covering every trick and technique imaginable. So what else do you need to be sure that this will work for you and get you to learn your dream tricks, get you the progress you want to become a shredder? Okay. You've already got 12 months access to all green circle, blue square, black diamond, and double black diamond lessons. 8 new in-depth video tutorials per month, every month of the year. 12 months, right? Regular and goofy versions of the most popular tutorials. But that's not all you're going to get. I want to make sure that you're successful and you reach the level of riding that you want. So you're also going to get off-season exercises you can do at home to get better at snowboarding. I call these off-season training hacks. And whether you're just bored or you want to progress your riding or you want something fun to do, this is for you. One thing I missed coming up, as I mentioned, was snowboarders are athletes. To have more power, to go faster, to jump higher, and to get injured less often, we need body awareness, we need agility, we need strength, we need flexibility. I neglected all of these when I first started snowboarding. But if we just implement a 3-part off-season training with strength, with mobility, and with balance, we can get so much better before we even go back to the mountain. And these daily exercises are going to keep you sane instead of going crazy from snowboard withdrawal, right? So we're going to give you at-home strength training to make you stronger, jump higher, and get hurt less often. By Ben right here. Ben rides POW in Japan, and he's also a master at strength training. And we're going to give you snowboard specific trainings so that you are a much more powerful rider and you get hurt a lot less often. You're also going to learn yoga from Natasha, certified yoga instructor and ripper. And this is going to allow you to tweak your grabs harder, land more stuff, feel way better, get injured less often, and honestly just be a lot healthier and more focused, and you will be a much better shredder. And we're going to give you jib training. So I've got a picture of the snowboard addiction guy here. So I'm going to teach you on that board, but I'm also going to show you how to make your own homemade board if you'd like. And we're going to show you how to master your jibs before you even get to the mountain. Jibbing, I think, is one area where you can make the most progress off the mountain, because if you learn all the balance, once you actually get on snow, it's exactly the same feeling. So what you get with the Shred School 12-month season pass: 2 new in-depth video tutorials released every Sunday night. Off-season exercises you can do at home to get better at shredding. Instantly better training is the next thing. Because here's the deal. We don't all have the privilege of riding 100 days a year, right? But what can you do to get better in one trip? Let's say you're going to the mountain on your next trip and you only have 1 or 2 days. Can you get better in that short amount of time? And the answer is absolutely. So when I used to ride 100 plus days a year, I would have friends come out on spring break and visit me. And I would compare their riding to my roommates who rode all the time. And I studied the differences between people that rode 100 days a year and people that only rode occasionally. And what I found surprised me. There were small, subtle differences that are very easy to fix if you know where to look, that cause a rider to look worse than they are at snowboarding. So when you enroll today, you're going to get instantly better. A training on 5 things you can do today to instantly be better at snowboarding, look better, feel better, ride better. Okay? So what you get, you're going to get 2 new in-depth video tutorials every Sunday night, off-season exercises you can do at home, and the instantly better training. Now let me ask you something. What would this be worth to you? Now, we all know how expensive lessons are on the mountain. Now, I'm not going to charge you that much, but if all this did was get you back into progressing with your riding, maybe you stalled out, maybe you've been at the same level for a couple of years now, what would that be worth to you? Remember, you are just one trick away. We all know that insane feeling you get when you land a new trick, that rush that you get, that 2 days later, 3 weeks later, you're still thinking about it. What's that one trick you've always dreamed of doing that you put in the comments before? What would it be worth to learn that trick? What would that feel like? If all this did was give you the confidence to go out and stomp the tricks you've been dreaming of, to have your friends totally stoked on the trick you just stomped, asking when did you get so good? How much would it be worth you to avoid injuries while getting better, to consistently learn new tricks regardless of how often you get to the mountain, and to finally stomp that trick you've been dreaming of? Now here's what a snowboard lesson costs at major resorts. At Vail, a full day lesson is $1,119. I know it's hard to believe. Bear Mountain, $824. Snowbird, $815. Mount Snow, $625. Holiday Valley, New York, $100 an hour. Squaw Valley, California, $879. And Whistler, $899. So here's the truth. It's expensive to get better at snowboarding, but with all the time, money, and effort you put into the sport, don't you owe it to yourself to get the most out of snowboarding? You can see why 12 months of shred school is a good deal at $500. That's 12 months of progress for less than the cost of a half-day lesson at Vail. But listen, I'm not going to charge you $500, okay? You've sat with me on this webinar so far. I know that you are ready to take your riding further than you ever dreamed. I know you're a shredder. So for hanging out with me today on the webinar, we have a webinar discounted price of just $97. So for less than $100, you can get 12 months of shred school, the step-by-step process to explode your riding. You can get started today for a limited time with this webinar deal at edshreds.com/now. Okay, that's edshreds.com/now, and you're going to get that discounted webinar pricing. Now, I can confidently say that this is the best snowboard school in existence on the planet. There is nothing else like this, and our customers agree. Jason says, I've tried many online tutorials, including Snowboard Addiction, and yours stands out to me, as your 360 tutorials are very detailed and cover points that others don't talk about. We cover tricks more in depth. We cover things that everyone else does not talk about. We cover what actually works. And this is all taught by somebody who's actually been there and done that. Somebody who's been sponsored, won the competitions, learned all the tricks, okay? So you've got two options. The first option is do nothing and do not take this leap of faith, which is 100% risk-free, backed by our Shredtastic guarantee. Or the second option is pony up the money for the small investment today compared to the huge value that you're going to get. Take the leap of faith, see if this will work for you, okay? So you're going to get 2 new in-depth video tutorials every single week, the whole year long. Off-season exercises you can do at home so you can get better off the mountain. The instantly better training, so the next time you're at the mountain, you can make these small tweaks and get better at snowboarding. And how to get gear, lift tickets, and lodging for up to 70% off. Because I get it, $97, it's a lot of money for some of us, right? But I want to make your $97 back immediately. I don't want this to cost you money. I want this to make you money. So I'm going to give you pre-season gear hacks. Now, when I first moved to the mountains, I moved to Colorado from Pennsylvania. And I moved to establish in-state residency so that I could get 80% off tuition in Colorado and go to school here. Now, to do that, I had to be financially emancipated from my parents and live in Colorado for 1 full year. So I was 18 years old and I had to be completely cut off from my parents. The school audited my bank accounts, which means I was not allowed to receive financial support from anybody. I was delivering pizza at night for Domino's, and then I would snowboard all day, every day. Now, there's no way I could pay full price for snowboard gear, lift tickets, and housing just delivering pizzas. And I wanted to be shredding most of the time anyways. So it was time to figure out how the locals do it. Because I can tell you one thing, locals do not pay full price for anything. And if you've lived in a ski town before, you know this. So I'm going to teach you how to get gear, lift tickets, and lodging for up to 70% off. You should easily be able to pay for shred school with this training alone. It will save you that much money. So the real question is it worth gambling a few minutes of your time to check this out? You're going to get 2 new in-depth video tutorials every single week. You get to look forward to that all week. Those hitting your inbox, you're going to get to go watch them, learn 2 new tricks a week all year long. Off-season exercises and training hacks that you can do at home so that when you show up to the mountain next time, you're better than you were before. Instantly better training. Those are 5 small tweaks that are easy to implement that are going to make you look, feel, and ride better. How to get gear, lift tickets, and lodging for up to 70% off so you actually make the cost of this training back. And you're going to get personalized video feedback and coaching. Plus, you can request trick tips based on your needs. So what that means is you can film yourself trying a trick or just riding down the middle of the run, and you can submit that video to the coaching team, and we will give you personalized video feedback so that you don't sit around wondering what you're doing wrong or wondering what you need to change. Now I'm going to play you a quick clip of Matthew talking about what a difference this makes.
This was my first year out snowboarding in probably 15 years, I would say. So pretty much starting from scratch. Um, a bit scared of the park in the beginning, but as I was getting comfortable, it's time for me to learn some 180s. So I'm looking up YouTube videos, trying it on my own, but just having a hard time, crashing every time, just getting demoralized, getting hurt. You know the drill. But with the Ed Shred videos, that's kind of where the turning point took place for me. So the way they kind of explain the progressions, stuff I hadn't quite learned yet that I needed before to kind of attempt these 180s. The way they explain how different parts of the trick are going to show up in later tricks really helped me kind of like visualize and understand what I need to learn, these kind of fundamentals. And it was really a different approach than kind of other videos I've been watching. So kid you not, making a few adjustments to my approach and the way I'm turning, landing 180s like 5 in a row, super simple. I couldn't believe like how easy it was. It was crazy, and the excitement you get and the adrenaline kind of rush from landing this stuff is awesome. So definitely recommend these guys. Their videos are definitely different than other stuff I've seen. So yeah, shooting for the moon and definitely checking out these videos every season. So thanks again. See ya.
So that's Matthew talking about his experience with Shred School. And as he said, this is different than what you see on YouTube. It's going to make the difference in your riding, okay? So if you enroll today before this webinar is over, I've got an extra bonus for you. I've got 5 easy tricks to impress your friends, because we don't all have the time to go out there and master snowboarding, right? We don't all want to go learn a backside 900 or lay out a huge backflip to impress our friends. Maybe we're just not there yet. So I'm going to give you a training on 5 cool tricks that you can do today. You can go learn these 5 tricks on one day in the mountain, okay? They're easy, they're awesome, and they're going to be fun to do and also impress your friends. So what you get with the 12-month season pass to Shred School, 2 new videos every single week, so you're consistently learning new tricks. And that's everything from how to strap in faster, how to get off the lift when there's other people on it, to landing your first backside 900, okay? We cover the whole spectrum. Off-season exercises you can do at home and off-season training hacks to become a much more explosive and powerful rider, get hurt less, and entertain yourself in the off-season. We've got instantly better training, small tweaks you can make to your riding immediately to be better, how to get gear lift tickets and lodging for up to 70% off so you can immediately make back the cost of this training, personalized video feedback and coaching so you can submit 1 trick a month of you, whether that's carving or you're doing your first 360. We're going to review that. We're going to record our feedback and show you exactly how to get better at that. You can also request tricks if you're looking for something specific. And when you sign up today, you get to lock in the discounted price for life should you decide to renew in 12 months, because Shred School is an annual membership. So we're going to give you everything you need to learn your dream tricks consistently without getting hurt. Now, what could you do instead of signing up for Shred School? If you really love snowboarding, I mean, you could buy a private lesson at a major resort for $1,200. That's insane, and those instructors are not going to be able to teach you this stuff. You can spend 1 extra day at the mountain struggling. That's $200 at Vail. So for half that cost, you just get a lot better and have way much more fun the next time you're up there. A trip to the emergency room, I know because I've been there, $150 to $3,000. Or you can start next year at exactly the same level as you are now, knowing you didn't achieve your shred goals, which I know that doesn't feel good. It's happened to me before, and I know I always have a better time when I'm consistently progressing. I don't know about you. Or you could waste an extra 3 years to make the same amount of progress, and there's nothing more frustrating than just year after year not getting better. Or you could just make your time in the mountains so much better for the next 12 months for less than the cost of a half-day instructor, okay? Less than $100. If this finally got your dream shred skills to become reality, what would that be worth to you? How would it feel to look back a year from now and know that you accomplished your shred goals? To know that you definitely progressed faster this year than all other years of riding combined, to break through that plateau in your riding and have your friends ask, when did you get so good? Again, same process. Jess went from bunny hill to backflips in 1 season. Check her out in some of those tutorials. How Matthew went from a beach guy, literally wouldn't set foot in cold weather, to being addicted to snowboarding and spending his winters traveling around snowboarding. How Natasha went from complete beginner to ollies and carving the first week. You'll see her in the ollie tutorial. And how I went from broken back, being so bad that I just fell onto my back on the knuckle, to being a national collegiate champion, holding a very large check over my head. That's Shred School. You're going to get all of this for just $97 today when you get started at eddshreds.com/now. This deal will not stay forever, okay? This is a special discounted deal for you for hanging out on the webinar with me. So if you want in, grab it while it's good, and you're going to get that bonus, that fast action bonus, 5 easy tricks to impress your friends. Now we do have some questions, so let's jump in and answer those. All right, question number 1. Who should join Shred School? Anyone who loves the feeling of flying down a mountain and wants to get better at snowboarding by learning tricks in their mind first through detailed tutorials so that when they get up to the mountain the next time, they're already better than ever before. And even if you never make it up to the mountain, if you still like learning tricks online, you like watching them on YouTube and things like that, you'll love Shred School. So this includes people who have never snowboarded a day in their life, first timers who want to be prepared, beginner snowboarders who want to learn the fundamentals, intermediate riders who want to get better at keeping up with their friends, advanced riders who want to learn the park, and park riders who want to increase their bag of tricks and land tricks more consistently, win competitions, or even get sponsored or go pro. Next question. What age is this for? Am I too old or young? Whether you're 15 or you're 50, just starting out, or you've been snowboarding for 20 years, Shred School is designed with you in mind as an end-to-end path from the first day on snow to your desired level of riding. So that's different for everyone. We know that. Some of us just want to impress our skier friends by riding a double black. Some of us want to learn to jump, ride the park, or even compete. The choice is yours in Shred School. How long and when do we get access? So you get immediate access when you sign up to the current videos. And then again, every Sunday night, we release 2 new videos. We'll email you about those videos and they'll also be released into your members area, okay? Next question. I've been snowboarding for years. Do I really need this? The best thing about snowboarding, I think, is that you can spend a lifetime trying to master it and you'll never learn every trick out there. It's a vehicle for endless creativity. So if you're not scaring or surprising yourself every once in a while, it might be time to learn something new. Humans, our fulfillment largely comes from progress. So given that the instructors in Shred School are national champions, sponsored riders, and some of the best freestyle riders around, unless you're Sean White watching this right now, there's a good chance you have a lot to learn from what's in this program. Now, if you've been stalled out or working with the same old tricks, even if you've been snowboarding for 20 years, this is a great time to take things to the next level. Next question, does this work in the off season? Yes, we realize that not everyone lives within driving distance to a mountain, so we want everyone to be able to progress all year long, every day of the week. So we'll give you mental exercises, off snow practice drills, so that next time you get to the mountain, you are better than ever before. What if I've never ridden before? We start at the very beginning from how to choose the right snowboard, what clothes to wear, how to buy lift tickets, strapping in, how to push and get off a lift, and how to make your very first turns. So again, this is comprehensive. Next question. What if my season is about to end? And I know everybody's at a different time in their season because snowboarding happens around the world at different times. So here's the deal. If your season's about to end, getting better at riding starts in the off season, right? That's the whole point. So if you want to get better before the next season starts or before your next trip to the mountain, this is for you. What makes this different? A couple things that make it different are we give you the proper order of things so you know exactly what to practice, when to practice it, which trick to learn next. We're professional online educators, so we know what works and what doesn't when it comes to online education in any subject. We get deep into the mindset of the trick. So you don't just understand how to do the trick, but also why you should learn this trick, how it fits into your overall skill set. And we use what's called progressive trick stacking to get you good in 1/3 of the time. So you're actually going to get faster a lot quicker with this program than any other method out there. Okay. Now, when it comes to snowboard education online, there's plenty of YouTube vloggers who are fun to watch. Don't get me wrong, right? But how many of them actually know how to ride park at an elite level? There's a handful of them, but the crossover is not always there. The people that are really entertaining, sometimes they don't know how to ride park, and the people that really know how to ride park, sometimes they don't do tutorials. And so this is really the training program where we can teach you how to carve, we can teach you how to cap 270 onto a handrail, we can teach you how to backside rodeo over a park jump. If you want to be the best at snowboarding, you've found the right place, okay? Next question. Are there different versions of your course for Goofy and regular? Yes, we will give you both versions, so you can watch whichever version you want. Next question. Can I ask for extra advice for the movement I'm trying? Yes, when you log in today, when you sign up for Shred School, you're going to be able to submit a trick tip request form immediately, and then we'll go ahead and make that video. Next question. How many videos are there? So again, we release 2 videos every single week. So by the end of the year, there'll be 104. You'll get what's already in there, but you're going to get 2 more videos every single week. is this available forever? No, this won't be available forever at this price. So you can get it in the future when it's much more expensive, but if you want it for this discounted webinar price, you're going to have to sign up before that goes up. Next question. I have more questions. How can I get them answered? Just go to edshreds.com/now and you can chat with us in the comment box there. So that's it. edshreds.com/now. You're going to get this whole thing for the lowest price that it will ever be offered. If you're ready to get unstuck and go shred it, go ahead and get signed up. Now, right now, I'm going to play you a sample lesson called Push Like a Pro, and I will see you inside of Shred School. What up, Shredder? Just by watching someone push on a skateboard or a snowboard, I can tell in about 3 seconds how long they've been snowboarding and whether they can really shred or not. Do you want to know the telltale sign of a newbie and learn how to push like a pro? We're going to break it down in today's video on how to ride with one foot. There are a couple fundamental skills you need to learn when you're just starting out on a snowboard, and if you take the time to learn these skills properly, they're going to make snowboarding a lot more fun, and most people just don't take the time to practice these. If you take a couple minutes to practice this skill at the bottom of the lift on flat ground before getting on the chair, it's going to make you so much more confident. The chairlift doesn't have to be your enemy. Plus, you won't be the slowest person pushing across a cat track, and this method of pushing I'm about to teach you actually takes a whole lot less energy than the way that most beginners push. In fact, some people even describe this as feeling like they're flying. When I was growing up, I learned to snowboard on a bunny hill at Tussey Mountain in central Pennsylvania, and the only way to get up this hill was a pommel lift, or as the Canadians like to call it, a button lift. This thing was a destroyer of worlds. It would chew up and spit out newbies, but it was also a fast teacher. The only way to get back up the hill was to learn how to ride one-footed up the mountain, and I learned very quickly how and how not to ride with one foot in. This lift has since been replaced with an actual chairlift, and I actually feel kind of bad for the kids now because they're not forced to learn one of the trickiest things in snowboarding, how to ride with one foot. But lucky for you, you're going to learn pommel level 1 foot riding today. Now, we usually cover prerequisites for tricks on this channel, but the only prereqs for this trick are you know if you're regular or goofy, so that means you know if you ride with your left foot forward or your right foot forward. You know how to strap into your snowboard, and you have a snowboard or you have some snow. Now, you could do this in your yard, okay? We're starting at the beginning for this one. We don't even need to be on the mountain. Now, our goal with riding one foot and pushing is just to be able to cover distances on the snow when it's flat, kind of like rowing a canoe on a still lake. Now, the mountain might be like Class 5 rapids, but once we hit the calm, we have to be able to move somehow. And this is where pushing or skating comes in. First things first, I once saw someone at my home mountain in Pennsylvania take their foot out of their boot and push with their sock while their boot remains strapped in. It's one of the craziest things I've seen in my life, and we do not want to do this. In fact, we're going to make sure that we're unstrapping our back foot every single time, not our front foot, and certainly not taking off our boot. Now, once we have our front foot strapped in and our back foot is free, there are basically 2 ways to push: with your foot in front of your board and your foot behind your board. Now, if you're a beginner, and especially if you don't skateboard, and you're like most people, you're gonna find it easier to push with your foot behind your snowboard. Now remember, this is just like rowing a canoe. We wanna row, then coast. Row, then coast. The mistake that most people make here is putting their weight on their back foot, on their pushing foot. And this causes them not to coast. They're really just bouncing off their back foot, and they're not even really riding the snowboard. They're just using it to assist with that balance. This is very tiresome, and it's not very effective. Now, if we just learn to put our weight forward on our front foot, we can coast for much longer. This is the defining factor to know how long someone has been snowboarding. How long do they coast, and is their weight on the front foot? Go out there and watch beginners and you'll see what I mean. Now, the extreme version of learning to do this properly would just be to learn to ride entirely with one foot, with just your front foot, and just lift up that back foot. If you can do that, you're gonna have an awesome time pushing. Now, you don't have to go that far with it, okay? You can just do a little exaggerated version like Natasha does here, And if you start to lean forward and think of your back foot more like that oar than a support beam, you're going to have a much better time. You'll also be able to get off the lift easier, get across flats easier, and outpush your friends. Now, some other things that go wrong when people are riding with one foot is they spin out. To combat this, especially when we're getting off the lift, we just want to focus hard on going in a straight line with no turns. So when you're getting off the lift or you're riding with one foot in, don't try to turn or slow down unless you absolutely need to. If you're getting off the lift, try to just coast to a stop in a straight line until you get the hang of it, okay? Once you get a little bit better, you can start turning, but we just want to ride in a straight line off that lift. That's going to give us the best chance of success. Now, another mistake people make here is they don't pick their back foot entirely up onto the board. So you want to push your back foot up against your back binding and make sure that it's the whole way up on the board. Now, once you go as far as you need to, you can always push your board out in front of you as you come to a stop for stability, okay? So coast in a straight line, then come to a stop. You can also get a stomp pad to help with this, but I think most people find that a stomp pad helps a lot less than they think it will. And really, proper technique is your friend here. Now, it can also help if you remove the snow from your snowboard. That's going to make it a lot slipperier. So to repeat myself, I am a big believer in putting all of your weight on the front foot and only using that back foot like a rudder on a boat. You'll need to push it into the board if you want to turn, but if you're just going in a straight line, you can stay pretty light on your toes on that back foot. So go out there, practice this on the flats at the bottom of the lift. Spend the time, spend 20 minutes just practicing this before you get on the lift, and pretty soon you'll be riding smooth off the lift and even riding button lifts and the dreaded T-bar. Now, one more thing you can do here is you can just skate up a tiny little hill at the bottom and then turn the board straight and ride down that hill to practice going down steep off ramps from the lift. You practice that a couple times and you're going to be a pro getting off that lift. So that's it for how to skate or push on your snowboard. Go practice at the bottom of the mountain, give it a shot, and let us know what you think in the comments. Sitting inside while you're wishing you were snowboarding kinda sucks. I wish I was shredding right now. Whether we can't make it to the mountain because it's the off season, we're too far away, or the world is crazy, one thing is for sure, shred is a limited resource. POW runs get tracked, last runs get called. And unless you're a pro who travels the world year round chasing storms, that leaves us back at home sitting at the computer dreaming about our next run. So what should we do? Well, if there's one thing I've learned from being so bad at snowboarding that I broke my back in 3 places to a national champion in snowboard slopestyle, it's that getting better at shredding starts in the off season. If you wait until you're on the mountain to think about your next trick or getting better at carving or hitting your first rail, it's already too late. We need to develop what's called mental muscle memory, so that when we set foot back on the slopes, at the end of our first run, our friends ask us, when did you get so good? Plus, we need to get our shred fixed somehow until we get back up to the mountain. I put together a special training on how to make more progress in the next 12 months than ever before. Just click through this video now to check it out. It's the same way that Matthew went from being stuck to landing 5 180s in a row after watching one video. It's the same way that Jess went from not knowing how to carve to doing backflips in less than a season. But we don't stop there. What have you always dreamed of doing? Maybe it's your first 180, or maybe it's your first rail, or your first cork 720. Maybe you just need to know what to practice when you show up to the mountain next time, or what order to learn tricks in. If you learn the step-by-step process to master all of snowboarding, starting from the very beginning, to go from carving to killing it, from bunny slope to backflips, and from strapping in for the very first time to a true shredder, we've got it all laid out in a step-by-step process. Kind of like the P90X of snowboarding. Just click through this video and check out Shred School. Because here is the deal. You invest a lot to snowboard. The cost to get equipment, to buy passes, the effort to get to the mountain. Not to mention all that time spent daydreaming about it. Don't you deserve to have the most fun possible and quit wasting time with trial and error? Stop worrying about keeping up with the crew and start getting a clear path to shred mastery. From absolute beginner to seasoned ripper, we've got you covered. Whether you get to the mountain once a week or only once a year, we have a training regimen that will work for you year-round. That includes off-season training. Click through now to get Shred School before we shut it down and get your fix until you're back on snow. Peace out, Shredder.